Good morning, good day, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We interrupt our normally scheduled episode of the Real Bromance podcast for a very special episode dedicated to Val Kilmer and his recent passing, which we have lovingly titled Valhalla. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Real Bromance podcast. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again to the Real Bromance podcast, episode 4. Now, Andy and I are going to do this is going to be a special podcast today. We're covering the life and career of Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer sadly passed away April 1st. And April Fool's Day, yeah, he did fool us all, unfortunately. And, since his passing, noticed a lot more clips, a lot of people paying tribute to Val Kilmer, and we wanted to do that too, because looking back on it, I feel like he was such an amazing actor. We don't talk about him, I feel, as much as we do, as we do nowadays.
Definitely.
But looking back on some of his iconic roles, like they made movies great. Like, stole the show in most of his scenes and was just a great actor. Don't get me wrong, there's been some flops along the way, but the man was just incredible in some of his scenes.
I think my personal introduction to him was in the third Batman movie, Batman Forever. And what's funny is, because I was coming from, loving Michael Keaton and those Batman movies, I hated Val Kilmer. I thought the movie was terrible because of it and everything else. But then the light came and George Clooney took over, and I realized just how good Val
Kilmer back. Get Kilmer back in the suit.
And even as it really wasn't that bad of a movie as far as the George Clooney's one was. But yeah, so he's been in so much like stuff overall, especially in the time period that this podcast is going to be going over a lot, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s and stuff. So I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say, have at least one episode dedicated to the man himself. So yes, I agree.
Yeah, the format's going to be a little bit different. We're just going to talk about more Val. We're still going to go into the Brometer and certain the Brometer, and talk about some of the films he's done, but it's going to be more of just like a back and forth, which I think is going to be cool because we can kind of reminisce a little bit about some of the movies we've seen.
And the recap we'll go over some of the works he's done, and then we can talk about that as well. But so without further ado, I think we can get into our recap.
Movie recap.
So to begin with a recap of Val Kilmer's filmography, I think we should also start with Val Kilmer, the man. He was actually born on December 31st, 1959 in Los Angeles, California. He was a New Year's Eve baby, born in L.A., so he was right by Hollywood. That makes sense. He had a rough childhood. His parents were divorced at an early age, and his younger brother Wesley actually died in a tragic accident at the age of 15. Which really affected him growing up. He always had an early passion for performing. He actually went to Juilliard, and he actually became the youngest person ever accepted at age 17, which is pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that, actually. He went in to do some stage work that he did. I'm looking up right now. He had his screen debut in Top Secret in 1984.
That was a great movie. Did you ever see that movie?
I didn't see that movie. We're
gonna have to do that. That was actually introduced to me by one of my friends. I think it was in like 8th grade. He's like, "You got to watch this movie." I was like, "What is this?" He's like, "It's called Top Secret." I was like, "What is it?" It's actually a parody movie.
Yeah, that's what it said.
So it's actually pretty good.
With Elvis style music.
Yes. Yeah. He's good in that movie.
And so moving on. Sorry, but yeah, we got to keep things rolling here.
No, I know. Sorry.
No, that's good. Actually, I appreciate that because I hadn't heard of that. Yeah. So he's always been pretty private with and close to the chest for his own personal life. He really And on top of that, he's also known to be very intense in his acting.
He was, yeah. He was very method, as they say. So most of the time, when you see like a method actor or you work with a method actor, he's been known to be tough to deal with. But most method actors are, like, if you look at Daniel Day-Lewis, Robert De Niro, I forgot who else. Oh, I mean, even Jared Leto, like the crazy stuff they did before the Joker. Yeah, I mean, Heath Ledger, like they've all been, but he was notoriously difficult to work with, but that's the passion for his art and what he did. So, and I don't think if he wasn't that difficult and that passionate, I don't think we'd be doing a podcast about him right now.
No, it's just funny too because I'm picturing him being method for Doc Holliday in Tombstone.
Oh, he was very, very method. Like even when the cameras turned off, he was method. He even I learned about it somewhere. Like he actually learned that like the accent that he had was like he added that kind of that southern kind of aristocratic accent. He actually went back because none of that's not a dialect that's talked like that anymore. Yeah. He actually had like a coach find like a tape of some guy and some guy that talked like that, and he studied it, and the guy talked very slow. Got to come down and have a mint julep. And he even said
good job. That was really good.
He said he couldn't talk like that for the movie, so he had to speed it up. But that's how crazy he went into this. They had to find tapes from because those people had since passed away since like Civil War. That was like Civil War.
Yeah, good point.
So to find that dialect and do that, and I think it added so much to that. To he stole the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the voice had it. Or that I don't. If he did a typical Western like Southern voice, it wouldn't have stolen any of the scenes like that. He captured everything.
It's funny watching those scenes with him and seeing the rest of the even oh my God, Kurt Russell. And, Kurt Russell is Kurt Russell in that movie. I feel like the voice and everything, he might have had a little twang to his voice, but Val Kilmer felt like he belonged in that era and like you were watching somebody from that era. Like that's, if you watch it again and see it, like just hearing how he talks and stuff like that and seeing the other actors and how they talk, like they all great actors in that movie. It's a great movie all around, but Val Kilmer, I feel like, just made that movie for me.
I agree. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, he stole it. That was but yeah, we'll talk about that a little more when we get to his movies. And then basically in the 2010s, he's diagnosed with throat cancer, which some people may not realize. He was also very private about that as well. I do remember him denying several times that he had any like illnesses and sicknesses, but unfortunately it started to show. I believe he did get he underwent a tracheotomy. And I think it helped.
He beat it. Yeah. But even for like when he did Top Gun Maverick, like they used AI just to get him in the movie. I think they used a lot of AI voices, voice for him to get in the movie, which makes sense.
That's sad. Yeah, makes you.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least he got in there. So also he actually did publish a memoir called "I'm Your Huckleberry" that came out in 2020, which is obviously another tie-in to Tombstone as line. So yeah, he lived a short life, shorter than you'd expect, but he did a lot, which we can go through now. Matt, you want to talk about some of the movies?
Yeah, I think I think you don't talk about Val Kilmer without mentioning one, Tombstone, which is on the top of everyone's list. But one of the other big movies that he did was Top Gun, as the Iceman. Yeah. I mean, he didn't even want that role. He was contractually obligated to do it. He didn't even want to do it.
Wow, that's one of his like most iconic.
I know, and it put him on the map for that for that movie. Which is crazy because I don't know. Top Gun is Top Gun, but I don't know if you wouldn't have Top Gun without Iceman.
No, you needed that. That rivalry, the whole movie was great.
Yeah.
When you hear that, folks, I'm talking about a movie that I have seen. Now, I will say this. I am 40 years old, and the first time I saw this movie, I was 38. So, yes, 2 years ago, I finally got around to watching it. So I did watch it, but yeah, I never watched it growing up. But yeah, go on. Yes, I agree. Iceman, that whole duality between them throughout the whole, him being like the more reserved, like great pilot, and then having to go with like Tom Cruise's just crazy Maverick.
I mean, even when you first introduced to him, when you see him, the first thing you see is him flipping the pen through like his finger. You just see he's controlled and calculated in the movie, which is crazy. And just his character, like just the juxtaposition between him and Cruise is just, like you said, the crazy, like just gonna take risks, and the cool the Iceman. It was fantastic. One of his biggest roles. The other big movie that we have to talk about, Heat.
Heat. And that's a movie we're going to have to rewatch for this podcast because I did see it growing up and I do remember some of the iconic scenes, but I definitely have forgotten a lot of it since. But yeah, that was an iconic movie. I mean, that was the heist movie that everyone grew up on. I mean, like I'm pretty sure Grand Theft Auto has used that for several of their games, like the game's Payday. Those were half of those were basically the Heat scene going through the streets and and they shoot them up and. Yeah, I do remember he played like a cool collected for but then he went kind of psycho.
Yeah, there was always a little bit of touch of psycho in there, and and just his way of acting and stuff like his scene where he loads and unloads the gun like in the shootout.
Mm-hmm.
They use that in military videos. He was so good at weapons that he practiced it so much that the military actually uses it. They show that scene.
That's insane. Like, can you imagine? I wonder if people in the military look at that and are offended by the fact that an actor is doing things better than
that just goes to show like his dedication. He was difficult to work with, but he was dedicated to the craft and he did it right. You know what I mean? So
and it's cool that something like that may not even necessarily have been like the highlight of the movie still stuck out like that because of how good it was. Not many people talk about. Oh, remember that shoot up scene where that guy really loaded his gun really well? And
they're so fast, so clean, and I actually watched it. I knew we were going to do a podcast like covering Kilmer, like, and it just popped, and I remember watching. I was like, wow, it was impressive, very impressive. He was an impressive dude. The other movie that I think a lot of people miss. I don't know. Well, I mean, people have seen it because it's been iconic. Was The Doors, and his transformation into Jim Morrison. He was really good in that movie. Like, if you see the cover, if you ever go and find the VHS or the DVD of that movie, he looks like Jim Morrison. But even more so, like, he studied and trained his voice so much, like, he did recordings as Morrison.
Interesting.
And they played it for, like, the rest of the Doors bandmates.
Mm-hmm.
They thought it was Jim actually singing.
Wow.
That's how good he was. Like,
I never heard of the movie, but now I feel like I should also go see it. Maybe is it worth covering for this podcast, you think?
Yeah, we could definitely do it. I've seen bits and pieces. To be honest with you, I haven't seen the whole movie. I've seen bits and pieces of it. So I kind of want to have a rewatch, especially after covering Val, like, and doing this pod. I do want to take a chance and go see it again.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, that's that one. The Doors, Tombstone. We talk about. Another movie that's underrated that I know you and I love, but I don't know if a lot of people have seen, is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah, that was good. And it's funny, that's another movie where I had never heard of it, and I remember you like coming out of nowhere and be like, "Oh, we should check out this movie," and I was like, "That sounds so stupid," and I watched it and I loved it. Yeah, like that was totally. I never heard of it. You basically brought it to my attention, and it was great.
Yeah, he was great in that movie. He played Gay Paris, which was he was a private investigator.
Yeah,
and in that movie, him and Downey, and that was Downey's resurgence. That's what got him into the Marvel universe. Him and Downey were amazing in that movie.
Great in that. Yeah, I heard the back and forth was amazing. That's something we can do for this podcast too. That's a funny movie. It was a good movie. And I think what made it great for me is having no expectations. As to you just kind of, it was one of those things I never heard of it, and I guess I knew Val Kilmer at the time. Like you said, it was research. I didn't know much about Robert Downey Jr. at the time.
Yeah,
I knew he was kind of a snarky guy, but I didn't really I didn't see a lot of the '80s movies and stuff he was in, so I didn't really know him yet. I'm one of the people that really got to know him with the Iron Man movies and so forth. So yeah, no, that was really cool. Also, actually, funny, after seeing that too, I was like, when I heard he was going to be Iron Man, I was like, yeah, I could see that now because it worked for me. I could believe like a snarky kind of billionaire.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest with you, watching that, like Downey, like, the 80s, you saw him in like Back to School and things like that, and he had like those little parts. Yeah. And we're getting off topic because we're talking about Downey now, not Kilmer, but
Well, it's funny. Well, he owes a lot to Val Kilmer, I would say, because it sounds like because of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, he got his resurgence, and that was something that wouldn't happen without Val Kilmer.
Another movie, and I can't believe we skipped over this one, was The Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I know you talked about it
a little bit, but yeah.
I didn't mind I mean, Grant, he's not Keaton. We know that. But I didn't mind Kilmer as Batman.
No, and at the time it was funny. At the time I was just hurt because I really liked. I grew up with Keaton. I technically grew up with Adam West, but for serious Batman roles, Keaton was there. I loved. I was one of the few people that I really, as a kid, I enjoyed Batman Returns better than the original. As an adult, I think that's blasphemy. But yeah. So when that came along, it was just a new Batman that bothered me. It was first. I think it was also, to be fair, one of the first times I'd watched a movie franchise where someone was replaced like that. Yeah, that big. I think vaguely the time I remember that was the Dukes of Hazzard, and then replaced the Duke boys with the cousins. And then how that ended. Yeah. So so basically I think that was but now but the movie wasn't that bad. I ended up actually, the thing I didn't like in that movie now was more so I always thought Jim Carrey would have played a better Joker than the Riddler. He's a little too goofy for me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, as Batman I could buy it, especially now when I've watched it more recently.
Yeah, I enjoyed Kilmer as Batman. I thought he brought like a little bit of a different kind of a little bit more of a playboyish kind of thing to the role. Like Keaton was good. Keaton was great as Batman, but I feel like the duality between Bruce Wayne and Kilmer brought that a little bit more. They covered a little bit more of him as Wayne.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
you know, and I mean, it sounds silly, but I feel like it made the character a little deeper. Yeah, of Batman, because Bruce Wayne because you watch Batman, you're not really watching it for Bruce Wayne. You're watching it for the only one that I think did it better than that was Bale. But
even then, I'd almost say I could be talking on the lines of use the word again, blasphemy here, but like Christian Bale was great as Batman for me, even with the grabby voice. But I never liked him as Bruce Wayne as much, and I think Val Kilmer was a better Bruce Wayne. I think I agree that he has that playboy net. Like I never bought Christian Bale as a great Bruce Wayne. Now, granted, the movies were darker and a little like
different, more origin story.
So he's probably good for that world's Bruce Wayne, but in the traditional sense, from what we've seen, throughout comic books and even the animated series, I always thought, I'd say Val Kilmer was the better Bruce Wayne. And going back to Michael Keaton, I always thought people hate the scene when in the first one with the Joker when he's in the Vicky's apartment and he's like, "Oh, you're nuts! That's fun." Nuts. Yeah. I mean, that was Michael Keaton in an awesome way, but like that didn't seem very Bruce Wayne-y. So, but I like I think Val Kilmer definitely put another I'd love to know why he didn't do the fourth one. I don't know if it was something that was just taken from him or if he just turned it down.
I know him and the director. Was that Joel Silver?
Schumacher.
I can't remember who it was. Yeah, they had a falling out because once again he was difficult to work with, and he had a hard time. Kilmer said like in later years, like I think he kind of poo-pooed it when he left, and he but realizing it was, he had fun playing it after the fact when he realized once he was probably in a better headspace, he enjoyed doing it, but I think it was a lot for him, because once again you're playing two roles. You're playing Batman and Kilmer's method, and I don't know if it was too zany when I use quotes, like for him to play, like he wasn't playing like that serious role, like where he was like playing Doc Holliday, he was playing a Navy fighter pilot, he was playing you know what I'm trying to say, it was a little too not fun. I don't know how to describe it, but like that's why I feel like maybe he didn't enjoy that role as much.
I guess I mean it's not in the same vein as those other characters at all. And it's just funny, too, because I almost wonder if Kilmer is what grounded Schumacher a little bit, because Schumacher directed both Forever and Robin. Yeah. And Batman and Robin was noticeably more campy and crappy. Like, that brought, I think, more of the bat nipples, if I remember correctly.
Was the shoots with the nipples, yeah.
And it's just, and then they're just like having them pull out the Batman Forever card, like, that was like for paying for Poison Ivy and stuff. Like, it was just ridiculous. At least the third one, Forever, was rooted in a little more of like comic book kind of feel. Even though he's over the top, the Riddler was really good. He, in terms of like what he was doing, he was very, he had the riddles for clues. He did like a lot of like, he had the contraption that could read people's minds, stuff that I would expect the Riddler to have.
Yeah.
So that was good.
I even liked Kilmer, like when he was Bruce Wayne, like the way he answered, like just very, very stoic, very cool, calm, and collected. Like he was, I don't know, Kilmer was, after watching this, like I said, after his passing, seeing some of these things and kind of looking at some of his filmography, he was he was a great actor.
Yeah. Good. Definitely going to be missed. Yeah. And we're going to have to watch a few of these as this podcast continues.
Absolutely. He always bring back, he just brings back nostalgia, and I don't think you're going to get that. I don't think you're going to get that from a lot of actors nowadays.
No. I agree. It's trying to think, has he been in anything else that we haven't talked about? That he's been a lot.
I mean, The Saint. I to be honest with you, I have never seen The Saint. I've heard it was a very good movie, but you've seen it.
I wish I could remember more of it. It's funny because I think it's one of those movies that I liked it. I don't know if it's looked back on as fondly for most people. But I remember he played like a really smart character, and I was trying to think. It came at times like the 2000s. I think he got lost in a lot of the action movies of the 2000s and like Matrix and things like that. And I think that's where it kind of got lost.
Funny that you bring up that he actually was considered for the role of Neo in the Matrix.
Wow. So that's crazy. I also heard so was Will Smith, right?
Yeah.
So those are like what totally different movies that would be if either of them were cast.
And then they were talking about if they didn't cast Lawrence Fishburne, he was possibly going to be Morpheus too.
Oh, that would have been interesting. I could
see him as Morpheus. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't picture him as Neo, but I could picture him as Morpheus.
Yeah, I think I could really buy that. Him kind of like being like the teacher and the yeah. No, I think wow, what a different movie that would be. Yeah, I think he could have he doesn't have quite the deep voice that Lawrence Fishburne has, but he has like that like the same the Bruce Wayne voice. Yeah, serious mind.
Yeah,
what he could have done for like the What If I Told You? Like I could picture him. Yeah, I think that would be.
I mean, that's crazy. And some of the rules, like another one that Keanu beat him to was Point Break.
Really?
Yeah. I first of all, I can't picture anyone else playing Johnny Utah other than Keanu Reeves.
FBI. Also, a movie I haven't seen in the last couple years.
I am an FBI agent.
Wow, I can't.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Because that would have been I agree. I think for that one, Keanu was the way to go. I said in Matrix, I can argue either way for Neo, but I agree. I think they made the right choice in that one.
Some movies that I can't see him like I don't know if you could see him this because I don't know if you saw it. You didn't see Top Secret, but he was considered for Dirty Dancing. Beating out Swayze. I don't think it would have worked, but I could see him doing the role.
Yeah. That's age-wise. Is he the same? Because Swayze was.
I think Swayze's slightly older.
Yeah. That'd be. I couldn't picture him with Swayze.
And then he was almost in Platoon.
Oh wow.
I don't know which character he would have played, but if he was he would have almost in Platoon, and then he was also considered for Full Metal Jacket.
Where? Which role? That would have been.
I don't know. I mean,
jeez, give me like the main.
Probably Joker. Yeah. Matthew Modine's character probably.
That would be interesting. You know what it is? I almost think.
I don't think he would have been bad in that. I think he could have done it. I like the way Modine played it, but I think he could have.
I think he'd have to definitely not look. He'd have to really look the part of being like skinny and kind of like scared and be. I feel like so he'd have to. But yeah, I could picture him in that role. Jeez, that's
I found out. So we're going back to Batman. I don't want to bounce back and forth, but I was just doing some research. So Schumacher originally wanted him for Batman and Robin, but Val, between scheduling conflicts, he was doing the Saint, and he said the Batsuit was unbearable, which is true. It was like 60 pounds of fucking rubber.
Yeah.
He's like, and then on set once again, his method acting came out. He was too intense. Childish and impossible.
Are you sure that maybe the issue was the suit, not because it was heavy with rubber, but because the new nipples couldn't fit him? Maybe
it could have been the nipple envy.
And everyone was like, George Clooney's nipples will fit that perfectly. And they're like, who's George Clooney? It's like, don't worry, get him in here. Nipples will run that.
Get us Clooney, he'll wear it.
He loves nipple suits. Go because I figured there had to be something because they obviously got Chris O'Donnell back. So
yeah.
And that was always weird to me. Like they had the same Robin.
They were originally going to have in Batman Returns. They were going to have oh my god,
Marlon Wayans is Robin. I don't understand. Did you hear like the deal he got? Like he signed the contract to do it. So and because they dropped him and dropped out, he still got paid.
Yeah, he
and
got paid.
continues to get paid for like any kind of royalties.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. It was like the best movie ever made without having to be in a movie. But
That's crazy.
yeah, I say too, like now Longland shows his chops a little bit, so like he could act differently. But like at that time, he was really known just for comedy.
Yeah.
I couldn't picture him as being like any kind of serious. It'd just be a goofy Robin. I wouldn't be able to.
There's a lot of near misses and a lot of what ifs in Hollywood, like some changes and stuff like that. Like you said, Will Smith as Neo, or it's.
You know what we should do? A future episode of this, we'll do the what if episodes. Where we talk about
I love it.
movies or in the different universe with these other people. I think that'd be good. But so I mean, anything else for Val Kilmer?
I
think we could. Like I said, there's been a ton of movies he's in. I said we're gonna go through them as.
I mean, there's so many to mention. He also did like a lot of just like I feel like straight to video, movies and things like that. But The Doors, Batman, Top Gun, Tombstone,
Kiss Bang Bang.
Kiss Bang Bang, The Saint. I think he did. Was he in The Ghost in the Darkness too? Wasn't he in that one?
Oh, was that the one?
Or was it something else?
Oh no! I mean, yeah, I think you're right. But that sounds. That's where he's like the hunter.
Yeah.
Or with the lion on.
I want to say it's I want to say it's The Ghost in the Darkness, but I could be wrong. I usually pride myself on movie trivia and movie titles, but I could be wrong.
Give me one.
There's a movie. I know that he is.
Yep, that was him. Yes, that was a great movie. I completely forgot about that movie. Yes, that was with
I never seen that movie.
Michael Douglas.
Yeah, I never saw. Yeah, it was Michael Douglas. I never saw the movie entirely, but a lot of people loved that movie too. You know what movie I'm forgetting?
What?
And it was terrible. A lot of people hated it. It was The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Huh, yeah, I never saw that.
You never saw it? It was Brando was like completely and utterly like insane in that movie, and then you put Brando in there, and then you throw Kilmer in his throes of being a difficult actor and thinking that he was fine in the movie, but the movie was absolutely terrible. They did not do the book justice, and it was terrible. I watched that movie 3 times, and I don't know how I watched it 3 times, but it was pretty bad.
Was that earlier? When was it? Oh, it's 1996. Yeah, this blew me by. I don't remember this coming out at all.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no.
I forgot about that. He was in that movie.
Yeah, that totally slipped by my radar. Like a lot of stuff did. So that's not bad. So I think we gave a good overall kind of review and or at least a summary of kind of what the work he's done and how he's been. I think that'll help viewers get an idea if they don't know much and get some movies to check out if they haven't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Including myself. So yeah, I think next what we'll do is usually we pick a favorite scene of the movie we're watching. Maybe this time we'll pick a couple favorite moments from his movies.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that idea.
Favorite scenes.
Now, normally this is the part of the show where we would guess each other's favorite scenes in the movie we watched, but instead this time we figured we would just each share 3 of our top scenes or quotes from a movie that Val Kilmer was in or a scene he was in and go from there. I think that would be a nice change of pace. And because I'm the gentlemanly type, I will let Matt go first with his first scene or quote he liked.
Oh man. All right. So my one of my first quotes or scenes, I'm going to save kind of my 2 favorites for my last 2, but one of my first ones is not everyone's popular opinion of him is Batman. When he first meets not when he first meets, but it's Chase gets him to go to like the bat so she turns it on.
Oh yeah.
And then he shows up and he's like, "It's the car, right? Chicks take the car."
Yeah. Actually, that's a good one. That's not bad. That was a good one because it actually like showed his personality with Batman. That was a good drastically different turn from Michael Keaton. I think it like set the tone for how he's going to be, and it worked. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I like that one. Was that the same movie where he's like, "I'll get drive-through"? Is that?
Oh, that's a good question. I think because they had the tie-in with McDonald's. Remember they had the crystal mugs, and it was like, I'll get drive-through. Yeah, it was that one. Yeah,
I like that.
And I had the whole set.
I did too. I did. That's right.
Those Batman mugs with the coolest one. I thought the coolest one was the Two-Face one because he's flipped the coin and the coin flipped like supposed to be like was the handle of the mug.
Yeah, that was cool. Wow, I forgot about I'm sure they got thrown out or broken over the years. That would kill to have those. Yeah, I forgot about. Yeah,
Those things are probably worth. Somebody wants those.
McDonald's stuff in general. Some stuff really takes off.
Yeah.
There's there's a market for old McDonald's stuff. So any viewers out there, if you have any old McDonald's toys and things, check them out on eBay.
Yeah.
Make a mint. All right, so one of the first things is also from Batman. I like the end when because the whole movie is about him kind of grappling with being Batman and having like the duplicity of his life, where he's split between the personas, and Edward Enigma really kind of he exploits that. That's the whole movie, and basically at the end, the trap is making him choose between being Bruce Wayne and saving Chase, or saving Robin as because his life is Batman. And at the end, when he finally beats him, he just said, I had to save them both. You see, I'm both Bruce Wayne and Batman, not because I have to be now, because I choose to be. And I think that was such a cool, just a cool ending of the movie after he basically beats them both. And I liked it. It was a good sum up of kind of who Batman is. And I thought that was the most probably character growth of any of the Batman movies up to that point. So I liked it.
That was a good quote. I liked the end of that movie. I thought it was good. I know a lot of people hate that Batman, but I thought he was great.
Yeah, I like I said, going back to it now, I really appreciate it more. Chris O'Donnell was interesting as Robin. A little older for it, but it worked. It was okay.
Yeah.
The only thing we can all agree on, the weird laundry scene with him drying.
Yeah, he whips it and he takes his toes and
sopping way all over the floor, and that was a little. But yeah, overall the movie was pretty good.
So my next quote, and I have a favorite. Can I do two? It's from the same movie.
Yes.
One is a little bit more funny. One is a little bit more serious. And getting older now, I really relate to this quote more. It's when they're in the bar scene. And Johnny Ringo and Curly Bill walk in.
What movie? Into the movie?
Oh, sorry, Tombstone. In Tombstone, when Johnny Ringo and Curly Bill bros just great acting all around. Powers Booth, Michael Biehn. It's just great. They walk in and he goes, "Are you retired too?" And he goes, "Not me. I'm in my prime."
Yeah.
And he's sweating and he just looks terrible. I really relate to that quote so much now because I tend to use that a lot in my daily life.
Yeah.
I'm in my prime.
That's a great.
And then one of the more powerful quotes, and I never really listened to it until after he passed away, and I always forget about this quote. It's after they have the big gunfight in the waters. This is after this is when they're on their vengeance ride, and he's up there. He's coughing out because he's basically dying of tuberculosis, and I think it was Turkey Creek Johnson. I forgot the actor's name, but he goes, he's like, "Why are you doing this, Doc? You should be in bed." And he goes, Wyatt Earp is my friend. And he goes, "Hell, I got a ton of friends." And he just goes, "I don't."
Yeah, that's.
And just the camera, the way he's looking and everything, and it just makes you wow, this guy's loyal.
Yeah, no, that's a great scene. I actually almost tear up seeing that scene now, especially. Yeah, that was good choices.
Yeah.
That's my next scene with him is same movie, Tombstone, and it's toward the beginning of the poker scene, when they're getting a little angry at him for winning his hand, and basically he pulls the gun on him. Do you remember the character? Who's the character?
I forgot the character. It's he's one of the lesser known characters, but yeah, he pulls the gun on him because he says he's cheating because he stands up.
Yeah, he thinks he's cheating and everything else.
Yes,
and then he puts the gun down and is like, "Now we can be friends again." And I like that, and they basically fight and ends up stabbing him. But I like this the scene where he's like, that's what I thought. The way he looks like crap. He's still commanding the table, everything else. Yeah. So he's in control the whole time, even when he doesn't look like he should be. And that's just a really cool scene.
My favorite part of that scene is the beginning, and I think I talked about this before we started the podcast. He just sits back, and he's got you see the gun.
Yeah.
And he just starts. Lightly tapping the gun, already being what's gonna happen if you're gonna keep going at me, and he just so little things like that is just what makes Kilmer in those movies, and just steals the show in that movie.
And it makes you wonder for stuff like that too, what's scripted and what isn't, because I could picture that how he's doing it to not be in the script.
A lot of it wasn't scripted. Some of the stuff he did little things like winks, things like that. Some of that dialogue was unscripted.
You know what? Too, I'm willing to bet that the more method an actor is, the more there is like that. Because when you're method and you're in it, I feel like you can come up with that stuff.
Oh yeah,
much easier. Yeah. You're not worried about. I'm not thinking about the script. I think about how would this character really do this, and I think you get a lot more natural. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Improv that way. That's cool. And I'll just go with my last one. My last one was straight. Was Top Gun. Well, he was great in the whole movie, but I really liked at the end. When him and Tom Cruise really kind of bury the hatchet, so to speak, and at the end he's just like, you can be my wingman anytime. And I think that was just such a cool, because you want it to happen in the movie. He's the Iceman is the cool guy, and even when they're playing that sweet volleyball scene, he just wanted them to be buddies, and they finally do. And also, I like that scene because without that scene, we couldn't have the hot shot scene where they have the argument about what's the difference between a chafing dish and a crock pot. And those who haven't seen the movie, watch it. It's great.
I mean, yeah, those two were great in that. He was great. He was so good in Top Gun.
Yeah.
I started rewatching that the other day because my son hadn't seen it, and I just remember that scene. And I was just like, so good. Yeah. It's good. All right, my final one is one of my the dark horse. One of my cult favorites is from Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Nice. And
I think you already know what the line is because I use it a lot of times. This is him and Robert Downey Jr. And basically Downey throws Paris' gun into the lake with the car that he's sinking, and Kilmer looks at him and goes, "Look up idiot in the dictionary. You know what you'll find?" And Downey goes, "A picture of me? No, the definition of idiot, which you effing are."
Yeah, that is so great. Yeah, I agree. That I love that line because it's such a turn.
Not even expecting it. Yeah, you're just like, and just the way Downey and him go back and forth, like.
Is definition of an idiot.
Which you are.
Yeah, that is a good one. I've used that since as well. That's a good line. Yeah, no, I think those. I think we've done a good job honoring him with some of the best lines and scenes.
Absolutely.
And we definitely recommend any viewers if you just want to. There's a ton of videos now, especially if you go on YouTube. You can look up like best of Val Kilmer, and there's like a lot of people. The stuff's been around, but people are starting to put up new stuff now too because they want to honor him. And
I think people should go check it out because it's like an icon. Like when like great actor passes, like they're always immortalized in film. You're always going to see them, but you're never going to see their like again.
Yeah.
There's talk of them remaking Tombstone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how can you mess with perfection? Like, how do you make it better?
And that's the thing too. If you wanted to make an argument of like, a sci-fi movie had bad effects and you want to do it over, like it's a Western, so all the effects are there. You don't have to worry about it. There's nothing. I agree. There's nothing you can improve on.
And nobody's gonna. That's like somebody else playing Iron Man, or like I feel like Iron Man. Some of those roles you just can't recast.
No.
If you recast Doc, I mean, some actor's gonna try. I'm sure they will. It's the same thing as Joker. Nicholson did it well. Ledger probably did it the best, I feel.
Yeah.
And then Leto did his own thing, but it's not the same. I don't think you can recreate. I don't think I would watch it, to be honest with you.
I mean, but it's funny. You can make an argument for the Joker and those types of things being recast because those are stories that need to be retold for a new generation. Whereas Tombstone is a periodic piece.
Yeah.
There's really no reason to redo it. Like, yeah, we need a new Joker for this generation.
Right.
We need a new Batman for this generation. You don't need a new Doc Holliday for this generation. Like, that was who he was. He's not currently around. Yeah. So that makes sense.
Or with all the movie magic and everything, you could just superimpose him into every remake of Tombstone going forward.
Fine, we cast everyone with him. Yeah, AI and shot photos and footage to. Yeah.
I mean, I think we need to honor Kilmer with the biggest thing we can do is the Brometer.
Yeah. So I think next will be the Brometer, which we will actually we're going to do it for the movie Tombstone because we think that's such a great movie. But stay tuned for the Brometer.
The Brometer.
Okay, now's the time for the Brometer. This is where we rate a movie on a scale from 0 to 100. 100 being amazing, and you need to go see it with your best bro before you pass away. which is kind of fitting for today, I assume. But yes, and 0 being like, you could just skip it and, check out Wikipedia or have ChatGPT give you a summary and have them spruce it up because it's just awful. So with that being said, today we will, with all the movies we talked about, we agreed that the Tombstone is probably one of just a solid movie to pick. Personally, it's something I've watched relatively recently, so I like that it's fresh in my head. Matt, you think Tombstone's a good movie to go?
I know it's not going to be everyone's popular opinion because I know a lot of people, some people don't like Westerns and some people, would rather see something else. Like, The Doors was an amazing movie, I know as well. It's a period piece. Some people are very into music. But I think for pound for Kilmer was one of the top billed stars. But I feel he outshined everyone else in that movie.
Definitely.
Because without him in that movie, I feel like the movie probably would have... I mean, to be honest with you, Kurt Russell did an amazing... Kurt Russell was like the ghost director of that movie, believe it or not.
Huh.
Because they went through a little director hell. And so Kilmer being in there, I think made it. So I agree. I think it's one of his best. Don't get me wrong. Top Gun's great. There's so many, you can go check out any of his movies, any of the movies that we talked about, and they're all really great. But I think we kind of agree that Tombstone is one of his best movies, and that's why we want to kind of do this. So for me, my barometer, like go and see it. Like it's for me, it's pretty close to near perfection. I'd give it. When you're talking about Kilmer, because right now we're focusing on Kilmer.
Yeah.
You want to see a good movie to really get you interested in him and make you want to go see other movies that he's been in.
Yeah.
And maybe some of those other movies are going to fall short because he was so powerful in this movie. But I would give it, like right now for me, Tombstone is basically like a 98.
Wow. Yeah.
It's not perfect,
no,
but it's pretty there when you're talking about Kilmer and his roles.
Yeah, that's not. So I'm gonna agree with you, and that is definitely a high end movie for me as well. What I like about it is it's a lot of things. It is a historical piece, so it's not 100% accurate historically, but it does give you a sense of like the period, what was going on. A lot of the characters are rooted in reality and real people. So I like that. It is absolutely entertaining. I am not a Western guy by any means. I always thought they wurt so boring. This one kept my attention. So with that being said, and also the performances were good. I agree. I think Kurt Russell, he did a great job being Wyatt Earp, but I feel like, he stayed in his lane. I feel like Wyatt Earp character had a serious head, so he did a good job. And Val Kilmer still.
I mean, and that movie has if you're watching it for Kilmer, that's why we're talking about it. But there's so much star power in that movie.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much. Yeah, Michael Biehn, like you said, he was.
Michael Biehn is Johnny Ringo. Powers Booth. You had Billy Zane's in there. There's
Bill Paxton.
You have
What's his face? Sam Elliott.
Sam, go get myself a Coors.
Exactly. He deserves.
He didn't say Coors though. I know Coors.
Yes. So my barometer score, I'm gonna give it a 93.
Wow, 93. Yeah,
that's good. So I think that's the highest score I've done so far on the show. Not that we've done so many episodes, but I think it's up there for me. So it's definitely a solid, like, A minus kind of. Actually, we will look for 94. Come on, 94. I want to be a solid A. 94.
Yeah. And you know what the cool part about that movie is, and I think that the director of it, George Camados, was on paper the director.
Yeah.
And when they did like press releases, I think the cool part about the movie is I never thought about it this way until after I read the quote, was he put it as, because everyone knows it's basically the gunfight at the OK Corral. That's what this is supposed to be, but they call it a tombstone. The gunfight in the movie was not the end of the movie. It was the start of something.
Exactly.
Which is that's what he said, and I was like, it's true. That wasn't the whole movie. There was a beginning. That was the middle.
Yeah.
And then there was like the actual what actually happened, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, like a lot picked up at that point, which was cool. Agreed. Yeah, I think that's
because most movies, that's where the movie ends. Because my dad used to love that movie, The Gunfight at the OK Corral, which is an old one that we can maybe watch one time. And that's kind of how the movie. That's when there's like 5 minutes after when the movie's over.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's a big shootout. We can lead it up to it, but I like that it was the catalyst for this movie instead. Like, because the revenge riding of that was like after that. Yeah, so that was cool. They make it look like they left town. And, yeah, that was the best part of the movie. It was interesting. I can't remember, when does Bill Paxton's character dies. He is right after they'll take.
It's after that, because that's when the Cowboys, the antagonists in the movie, like they start going after the Earps.
Right.
So Virgil, I think Virgil gets shot first, and then
that's right.
but he doesn't die.
Yeah.
And then Bill Paxton.
Shoulders.
Yeah. Bill Paxton. He actually ends up losing in real life. Virgil, because these are based off true characters.
Yeah.
Virgil actually ended up losing his arm from that shot. Yeah.
So great. It's not historically accurate. I guess I had to drop back down on either.
Well, I mean, but that
just
they because the focus was on Wyatt Earp and Val Kilmer, but yes.
Also, you can't have Sam Elliott without an arm. It's like
you can't drink his Coors. Can't drink his Coors.
Double fist his Coors.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, I think that's it for the show. I think we wrap it up. I think we did, this was definitely a last minute episode kind of thing. We didn't want to have to make this episode for obvious reasons, but I'm glad we did. Val Kilmer passed away, and we're very happy to honor him in the early part of our podcast. And we'll definitely be revisiting a lot of the movies we talked about as we go. If any viewers, listeners want to comment on, a Val Kilmer movie or a favorite scene they have, feel free to comment or leave a review and talk about it. Until then, we'll be back with another movie review / discussion. You want to take us out, Matt?
Everyone have a great night and enjoy the podcast. Thanks for listening.
Sounds good. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.